Hey guys, welcome back to another art video. So this video is going to be a cheap marker challenge, and the markers that I'll be using are these things called Blendy pens. Just ignore these pens for now, but these markers were actually really popular when I was in around high school, and they're from a company called Melissa and Doe, which makes they make like kid-friendly art supplies. So these were pretty popular though, because their tips are a bit different. Hold on. So it's like an in-between brush and fine tip. It's like a mix of it, so it's easier to get blends, and I really enjoyed using these. I did receive this as a gift though. I've seen them on Amazon for $10, like the full set. I think there's 34 colors in total, and the full set I've seen on Amazon for $10 when they were being sold out. So, but I don't know how much whoever paid for this bought it at the time. But I used to see them at almost every department store, so they are really cheap markers though. It's just that I found that they work a little bit better than Crayola markers. And I'll just be lining the drawing in a cheap ballpoint pen, and I did bring some tap water in a bottle just to make sure. Like, some of these markers might have been dried out because I got them like 6 or 7 years ago, so just to like reactivate the ink, I have tap water just in case. I started off lining the image with my black ballpoint pen, and I really didn't have any trouble with this step because I was used to sketching with ballpoint pens by now, so that was the easy part. But what the hard part was when I was getting into the coloring, because I figured out that about half of the markers that I was using were dried up, and so this made me think, okay, I just need to dip it in the water and it would reactivate. But actually, after I dipped it in the water and I started blotting the water on the paper, it started to make the paper pill a whole lot, and that started to ruin the drawing, and I was starting to panic. But this paper actually came from one of my Daler Rowney sets. I think it was the tote bag one. I bought 2 cheap Daler Rowney sets, and one of them just happened to have a bunch of cheap sketch paper in it, but it did feel like it had a vellum finish on top of the surface of the paper. And I did try my distress markers on top of this paper, and it worked out pretty well. Like, it didn't show any streakings or anything like that. So I thought that, okay, this would work really well with the Blendy pens, but it turned out it didn't, because I think the ink inside distress markers or any of the other artist quality water-based markers, they're much higher quality, and also like the marker is much more inky, so when you're laying out the ink in a large area, it creates less streaks than if you're using like a regular cheap Crayola or those really stiff tipped markers. So then another thing I was thinking of was, I've seen other YouTubers scribble the ink from cheap markers onto a piece of plastic, and then just taking a paintbrush and using it as watercolor paint. But I was afraid that might be cheating because you're not really using the marker, you're using like the ink inside the marker. So I don't know, I didn't feel like that was the right way to go for this challenge, but it definitely might have made the coloring process easier for me. I figured out that most of the markers that were in the Blendy pen set are darker colors. Like, I couldn't find that many lighter colors to blend the darker colors into. So the character I'm drawing has a cape. It's like a see-through dark blue cape, and I was trying to blend the purple into the blue to make it look like it's see-through, but that was really hard because I don't know, the blending also didn't work too well on this paper. Especially, I think, because the markers were all dried out and they were several years old, so that's a good explanation. But in the end, I kind of like the final product. It still looks really streaky in some areas, but I like the overall drawing and the overall look of it. So I decided to just post this video because I was thinking if it looks that awful, I will just completely scrap this idea. But it does, I mean, it is a marker challenge, so you're supposed to like fight off the bad qualities of the marker, trying to make decent artwork with them, even though it's kind of a challenge. So I think I pulled that off decently. Lastly, I just want to talk about my commissions. So I finally managed to make a commission chart. The prices are based on like what media I will be using and also the size of what I'll be drawing on. I started getting some commission requests on my email, and as soon as I gave them an estimate of what price I'm looking for, then they would reject because it's way out of their budget. So then that got me thinking, and I decided I should probably make a commission chart just so people know like what kind of prices I'm looking for if any of you guys are interested in commissioning me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.